Hello and welcome to the Busy Mom Show, the show to help mums and their families thrive. I'm your host, Dr. Leonora Rhodes, and today I'm delighted to have on the show Maria Turkel. Maria is a personal stylist who began her career as the wardrobe supervisor on Friends. And today we're going to be talking about how to organize your wardrobe so as to decrease your stress levels. Before I introduce you to Maria, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the concept for the show. I've been helping women and their families increase their health, happiness and success for over 20 years as a physician, coach, neurotherapist, and with my book, Beyond Soccer Mom, Strategies for a Fabulous Balanced Life. The next natural step for me was the Busy Mom Show, where I bring you interviews with experts on topics ranging from health to parenting, peak performance to fashion and beauty. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Maria Turkel, personal stylist who began her career as a wardrobe supervisor on the set of the TV show Friends. And most importantly, Maria is a mom of 3 children. So welcome, Maria. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm delighted to have you here.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Good. Well, could you start by telling us about your personal story from wardrobe stylist on the TV show Friends through to being a mom and now having your own business?
Absolutely. So I've always loved clothes from the time I was really, really little and always studied them. I was a fashion design major in school and I went out to LA and I worked there for 10 years. On many different shows. One of them was Friends, the most popular, which was amazing. After 10 years in LA, I had children and I didn't work at all for 7 years.
Okay.
Moved back east, had 3 kids in 7 years and loved it, just stayed at home the whole time. And then I really wanted to get back into work, but I realized I wanted to try to find a balance. It was mainly about time.
Yes.
A lot of shows do shoot in New York, but it's 16-hour days, maybe 14-hour days if you're lucky. So this was something that I kind of took a part of what I used to do. I used to build closets for my actors and then did more with the shows, of course. And I thought I could do this for individuals and I really wanted to do it in a way where I could help others. I didn't want to do celebrities necessarily. I wanted to do individual lay people.
Yeah.
And so I started talking a little bit about it with, friends and a lot of the response I was getting was, you need a business plan. You need this, you need that. And it was very intimidating. How am I going to do it? And my husband said, see if somebody will pay you to do it. And I was like, okay, that's my business plan.
Yeah.
So, you just start. You start small. And I've been doing it for 7 years and it's grown and grown and grown because clients have said, oh, could you do this? Oh, could you do that? So my suggestion is if you have any desire to do anything, just start.
Yes,
and have confidence that it will go in the right
direction.
direction.
Doesn't have to be perfect.
It does not. You don't pop out perfectly formed.
I quite agree. So something I struggle with is dressing to fulfill all of my roles during the day. For example, yesterday morning I went to the gym and then I did some one-to-one coaching in somebody's home, and then I was picking kids up from Taekwondo, and then I was cooking. I could have changed 4 times during the day.
Right.
So how does somebody dress for all of those different roles?
And I think that's a great point to bring up because as a mom, I think we fulfill so many roles in every single day. And I think the old question of do you work inside the home or outside the home is really irrelevant now.
Yeah.
We all work all the time, no matter what we're doing.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is find clothing that you feel great in that can go a lot of different ways. Most moms, you need to have something that's very washable. It all can't be dry clean. You don't want to be, hot and sweaty and constricted. So a lot of stretch. But still a little polished so that if you are working and seeing a client or whatever you call your more work, whether it's a luncheon with friends or whatever it might be, you feel together and polished, but yet you can come home and maybe take one layer off or something or take an accessory off and cook dinner.
Yes.
And I'm a big proponent of aprons.
Oh,
I wear an apron to my dinner because you don't want to mess up your clothes.
That's a great idea. As I get older, I struggle more and more, and I know lots of women do, with figuring out what style's right for us. You know, when you're younger, you can pretty much, you know, wear what you like. But as you get older, and as we say, fulfilling all of these different roles, how do you figure out what style suits you, and you know,
Right.
changing body shape and,
Yes.
and all of that?
So, okay, let me try to break that down because there is a lot there. So, in terms of your own personal style, you know, there's certain people who they just know. You
Yes.
know, I'm classic, I'm sporty, I'm bohemian. They know. If you're not really sure, my suggestion is to look in your closet, look at your favorite pieces of clothing, the ones you put on and say, oh, I feel great in these. And if you kind of lay a few of them out on your bed or hang them in a certain place, you'll see a pattern. It might be a certain color or a certain style or a certain type of fabric, and that can kind of give you direction in terms of defining it for people.
Yeah.
For me, I would say eclectic, because mine is quite different from day to day, because I just enjoy doing that. Not everybody does. So there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of different styles out there. In terms of knowing what looks great on you, I think we have to get really careful as women, because you kind of look to your known world, friends, sisters, moms, and they have strong opinions.
Yeah.
And what looks great on them might not look great on you. And that's okay. So again, you know, it's those pieces that you feel really, really good in. Those can give you the most information about yourself. And later on, I'm going to talk about how to organize your closet, and you'd be surprised that when you organize it in a certain way, you can get a lot of information about your style that way, because you're seeing it in a specific way.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of images. One of the images shows how you can, everybody wants to have a range of styles.
Yeah.
So for example, this client that I used is pretty bohemian. She loves to kind of mix and be really artsy in her everyday life, but she has young children, so it's t-shirts and corduroys and boots. But yet, you know, you're going to have those dinners or events where you have to be a little bit more conservative and more polished, and you don't want to completely lose your style when you do that. So image number 1 discusses that and shows that, I think, in a great way. You maybe use the same accessory or the same color, but different actual trousers rather than corduroys. You know, you switch that a little bit. So you definitely want to have that run the gamut. And then later we can talk about real specific things, like if you're tall, if you're short. So if you're really, really tall, one of the things that you want to concentrate on is pattern. Overall pattern. If the pattern's much too small, it'll kind of get lost and it'll just be too much. But if it's too big, it'll just be too bold. There'll be too much of it coming at you. So pattern is something to really look at if you're very tall. There's also a lot of lines out there that sell for tall sizes, and that's something to look into, because nothing more frustrating than, you know, like sleeves that are too short or pants that are too short. If you're really short, on the other hand, what you want to look at is elongating the line of your body. So oftentimes dressing in like a tonal colorway. So for example, not everything blue, 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 but in shades of that perhaps, because it makes a vertical line as opposed to cutting it up horizontally.
Yes.
Some of the other things you can think about, if you are very busty, you want to avoid, you know, the collars and the pin tucks. These most people know that you don't do like a big collar, right? But the little things, like certain jackets will have little tucks right here. It all just starts to make you look much bigger. So these are like very specific things in each garment. They don't have so much to do with personal style, but in terms of each garment, how you want to approach it. If you're a little bit more flat-chested, then you want draping and, you know, bring a lot of attention up here.
Yes.
So those are some specific things. The other thing I want to mention too is color. So many of my clients say to me, oh, I've had my colors done, I can't wear pink. You know, they just cross it off their list like entirely, and it makes me so sad. I'm like, don't do that. You know, there are so many shades of color. I can't wear colors that have a lot of gray in them because I'm very olive skinned, so it makes me look like I've had the flu for 2 weeks, which is bad. But that doesn't mean I can't wear this. For example, I wouldn't wear like a grayish blue. I just wouldn't do that. But that doesn't mean I don't wear blue. You know, you can take like a really pale blue that has a lot of white in it, and that looks great. So that was one thing I definitely wanted to remember to mention is don't, even black. Some people say, oh, it's too overwhelming, I can't wear it. There are so many shades and tonalities that try it. You know, push yourself to try something a little bit different, and you'll be surprised that you can do it.
And do you think do you think people should be asking their friends and family about what colours suit them, or is that a bad idea?
It's not a bad idea. I think it depends on the friends and family, and it's so hard to say yes or no. Some people have that shopping buddy, your sister, or somebody who's great, who will really be honest. And then some people have that situation where you end up feeling kind of badly, and so that you want to avoid. Jumping back into parenting, I think it's really a great point that, especially when you have teenagers, they're going to experiment, and that's fine. Yeah. So as long as it's not completely inappropriate and maybe going to get them, bad comments or inappropriate attention, you kind of have to foster it and then maybe like gently push them.
Do you have girls?
I do. I have a 15-year-old girl, a 13-year-old boy, and a 10-year-old girl.
Yes.
So, and the 10-year-old steals from the 15-year-old's closet.
Okay.
So again, you have to be a little careful, you don't want like off the shoulder or anything like that.
Yeah. So, it must be a hard balance. I have 2 boys, so it's kind of a little bit easier. But it must be hard with the girls these days. There's a lot of pressure to be wearing more kind of adult clothes. Yes. And, it must be very hard to get the right balance between allowing their freedom of expression.
Yes.
And making sure that, it's not totally inappropriate.
Exactly.
So,
and that's very true for us as well as adults, and that's something that I tell all of my clients from the beginning. My goal is to find an authentic look for you.
Yes.
And that should be your goal too. To find this authentic look so that you feel really comfortable and great in it, but it is still appropriate. So when we were 25, we could wear different things. They're not quite as appropriate. Does that mean my style is completely different? Not necessarily.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think that's a great point.
I have to say, I'm coming up to that time of year where I really want to sort my wardrobe out. I tend to do it in the fall and the spring.
Yeah.
When it comes to helping other people organize their wardrobes, do you kind of say you need to start from scratch and throw everything away, or how do you do that?
How do you
whole
approach
process?
that? Yes. Okay, no, definitely not. There's this show What Not to Wear, and they throw it into the garbage can, and I always tell people I'm not going to do that to you because it's very intimidating. You think like she's going to come in and say like, it's terrible. Exactly. So that's the point. Okay, so what you want to do, you want to start with your closet, and you're going to make 3 piles: keep, giveaway, and maybe.
Okay.
Some people feel like it's just so overwhelming if your closet feels big or you just don't feel like you have the time. Start with a section. Do your tops, do your bottoms, do your shoes, whatever. If you can do it all at once, great, And so the keeps are the things that you love. And if you love it, but you feel there's a thing in the back of your head saying, is it really appropriate? Should I wear this? Just still put in the keep. If you really love it, If it's stuff that you really don't wear, we all have those pieces that either have tags on them or you put it on and you go and you take it off.
Yes.
And then a week later you put it on and you take it off. And so that kind of tells you like it's not working for whatever. So that can be released. And then there are those pieces that you're like, I'm really not sure. I love this, but I don't know what to do with it, you know? And so put that in the maybe pile. So then what you want to do is you take all your keeps and you're going to put them back into the closet, and you want to put them all together by garment type. Yes. So all your tops, all your pants, all your dresses, all your shoes, keep them in separate areas. They can be one against the other, or like if you have a long rack, and do them by color. Okay. And this is what I was sort of referring to a few minutes ago. If you put all your white tops together, your red tops, your blue tops, you're going to start to get so much information about how you shop and the things that you're instinctively drawn to. Yes. I had a client who said, oh, I buy a lot of blue and white patterned tops, don't I? And she didn't realize it until we put it together that way. Yeah. So then once you do that, you might even go through again and say, you know what, I have too many of those. Yes. Or I have 10 pairs of jeans, they're all the same color. Yeah. One of the images, I think it's number 2, shows that if you find a brand or a line that you love that fits you well, feel comfortable buying multiple pieces in that. It's okay to only wear all your jeans from the Gap or, Citizens of Humanity fit me great. So, but get them different styles, different colors, different shapes. Yes. For example, especially with jeans, you want a dark pair, you want a skinny pair, you want a pair with a little boot cut, you maybe want something with a big flare to wear with cowboy boots or to go out or something. Yeah. You want a pair that's great, something's a little higher rise, something that's lower. So you want to have variety that way, but you can still shop all at the same place because you know it's going to fit you.
Yes, absolutely.
Because how much time do we have? Do we have time to like go to 8 stores to go, I gotta get the right pair of black pants?
Yeah, it's just great when you find a store where you just know that when you pick your size, that it will look, it will fit you well, and then you can judge whether you like it.
Exactly.
Without worrying about it being the wrong size.
And let me just interject one more thing. The only little thing I think people get hooked up with is then they buy the exact same thing every time. So that's the little part that you want to tweak.
Yes.
Not the exact same pants at the same store all the time. But yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Find something that works and stick with it.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me a bit more about organizing kind of accessories and things.
Yes.
I know I've seen pictures that you've done of of all of that.
How to do that.
Yeah.
So a couple real specifics. If you can, if you're able to, start with the same hangers. I love those thin velvet hangers, and you can get them anywhere. Target, Costco, online, whatever. Because tops don't fall off of them. You can hang things over. And they're so thin, you want to hang as many pieces as possible because you want to see them. If they're stuffed in the bottom of the drawer, you forget, and you're not going to wear them. So that's the key, is sort of hanging them as many pieces as you possibly can. And then in terms of the accessories, I find the same thing really works well. If you can find a little wall space and put up some hooks. Some people do stick-on hooks. Some people do, the hooks that you get at the Container Store. You drill them into the wall. Whatever works for you. Hang all your jewelry. Hang your necklaces. Hang your bracelets. Scarves, you can hang them over hangers. So you want to be able to see them.
Yes.
And if they're easily accessible, you'll use them.
Yes.
If your necklaces are in a little dish all tangled up, you're never going to put them on.
Absolutely. I'm very guilty of that. I think I have 2 necklaces that I kind of wear depending on the color of the top that I'm wearing.
And that also is not a bad thing. To have that signature piece, it makes it really simple. It simplifies, going back to your question, okay, I'm at the gym, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You don't need to change your accessories every day if that's not something that's interesting to you.
Yes.
If you're like, I have my summer 2 pieces and my fall winter 2 pieces, go for it.
Yes.
I think that really, whatever works.
And you're right, and it's very much about, what doesn't stress you. And if you like having 20 pieces of jewelry, then go for that. And if you like having 2 and not really having to make a choice, then do that. And,
exactly.
When I coach people, I very much teach them to go with what works for them because it's so different for everybody.
It's so different for everybody. I think that's a great point. And that also makes me think of handbags. A lot of people ask me about that. Do I have to change that? No, not at all. It doesn't have to match. Some people like to change it all the time, and that's great. And if you do have a lot, the way you want to store those is also so that you can see them. A lot of people will use the dust covers so that, they keep the person in good condition. Snap a picture of it and then tack the picture onto the dust cover so you can see it.
That's a good idea.
And that's another thing with shoes. I like to do that. My everyday shoes, like my boots and things, I have an image of that too. Then you can do those hanging shoe towers for like the things that you use probably medium amounts, so you can see them. And then the shoes that tend to be a little more special occasion or once in a while, I leave them in their original shoe boxes. I take a picture and I just paste the picture on front of the box so you can see what it is. A lot of organizers will say, go buy the clear boxes so that you can see them. It's a big expense, number one. And number 2, quite often the actual shoes don't fit in those boxes because, certain boots will have a funky shape or certain shoes. So I just use the boxes that they come in and stack them up on top of my closet so that you can see them.
And what about shoes as we get older? It's kind of, I'm not going to say we're all, should be in flat granny shoes, but
the great thing I think is so many stores and lines are responding to what women want now, which is comfort and style. So in both clothing and shoes, you can really find that. There are certain lines of shoes, for example, Clarks. I think many people think of Clarks as granny shoes perhaps, or like the desert boots, but they have wonderful lines. Like they call them artisan lines.
That's right. I've just got some of those. Yeah.
And they're great and they're so comfortable. The Cole Haan has a partnership with Nike. Have you seen the Cole Haan Nike Air?
Okay.
And they're pumps and they're beautiful Cole Haan shoes, but they use like the Nike Air technology to make the soles so comfortable. So really, I think there are just so many options. for the times that you want to wear the stilettos or you want to really do that, throw a little pair of the fold-up shoes in your bag or flip-flops. It's really okay to switch, especially if you're driving in the car. Switch back and forth. And if you don't have a problem with them, then more power to you.
So any more advice on getting organized? And I'm asking you to condense a huge amount of stuff into a short time.
Yes, and that's a good point. When I work with a client, we take a good chunk of time to do this, and a few hours, right? 2 to 3 hours at a time. And some people will say, oh, that's just too much for me to spend on my wardrobe. But I really encourage women to do it because it's a way of taking care of yourself. We all know how great we feel when we feel like we look good. And when you feel like you look good, you forget about what you're wearing. You really don't pay attention to it. You're like, I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling great. And there is so much value to that. I think across the years there's always been, but certainly in the era that we live in now, image plays such a huge part in all of our relationships, and all of our activities. So I really encourage you to take a chunk of time, take a morning and do this. And it's so worth it. If you can even modify a little bit of what I said, even if you get through just your tops or just your pants and just have your favorites there, then you can get to that next step, which is getting a few go-to outfits together that, in the morning when you're rushing to get the kids ready to school and you have appointments, okay, I have 4 or 5 things that I know are going to work. Or I hope that you've been in the situation that I've been in where it's 7:55 at night, husband's ready to go, kids are ready to go, babysitter's there, and you're in your underwear. And you're like, and it's just, it's worth it. Take care of yourself a little bit when you have some time so that when this time comes up, and I do it seasonally as well. I think fall and spring are the time to do it, and that's certainly my busiest time working with people. In the summer, nobody wants to think about clothes, and during the holidays and winter, you just don't.
I'm so glad you said that about confidence because when my kids were younger and they were both very sick and I had pretty bad depression, and for a long time I neglected myself, and one of the things that I really neglected was how I looked and the clothes that I wore, and I remember it was a couple of years in between really going out. My youngest son I couldn't leave with anybody because he was so sick, and I remember going to a wedding and we actually took my son with us because nobody would look after him, and it was the first time in about 2 years that I dressed up. And I just felt like $1 million. It was such a good feeling, and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I treating myself with this, lack of respect? And it was a real turning point for me where I said, I mustn't do this to myself anymore. And it didn't mean going out and spending a lot of money. It just meant choosing the clothes, wearing clothes that I felt good in, instead of just putting anything on.
Exactly. And that gets back to the point of you're keeping your favorites and not throwing it all out and starting from scratch. You keep your favorites and you build on those. And you might even see that if you pull out the stuff that isn't working, you have so many more outfits because everything in there works well. And if you organize it in the color way that I've described, you'll start to see, like, say you want to wear your blue pants today, you just hold them up and you see all the colors of tops and what's going to work with them and what's not. And it's just so much quicker. And so you might have a lot more options than you think you do without shopping a ton.
That's great. I'm going to try that.
Shop your closet.
Tell us about some ideas for finishing touches.
So I think what I would love people who are watching to do after this, if they go and look at their closet and get it a little bit organized, what you want to do is put these few outfits together, these go-to outfits. And the last 3 images that I sent to you are different clients of mine that we've done this for. And it can be everyday outfits. What am I going to wear after the gym? So that you know what to put in. And it's literally like which t-shirt, which pair of chinos, which shoes, which jean jacket, and you take a picture. You can be wearing it and have somebody take a picture. You can lay it out on the floor of the bed and you take a picture. And you do that for whatever is important to you. Some people will say to me, every day I've got it. I don't have a problem. It's going out. All of a sudden I haven't been to anything fancy in a while and I don't remember what to wear. So whatever those issues are, those specific things that you want to have as go-to pieces, make the full outfit. Shoes, jewelry, undergarments, especially for going out in the evening, can be a little bit tricky. So make sure you have it all. Take a picture of it. I create lookbooks for my clients.
I know, and they're fantastic.
Thank
what
you.
a great idea.
That was really something that I realized when I first started working with people, they didn't remember. I would remember, and they would call me and say, what do I wear? And I'll say, okay, you want to wear this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, you just need the picture at home.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So do it for yourself,
Yes.
you know, or even like if you like the way a certain combination looks, snap a picture of it, and you'll remember for the next time.
Yeah.
Keep it in one, easy place to access, so that in those moments where it's very stressful and you're short on time, you're good to go.
Yeah.
In terms of accessories, I think people feel either I am wearing too many all at one time, or I'm not wearing enough. Like you're saying, I didn't make an effort with the purse.
Yeah.
So use color for accessories.
Okay.
Again, try to do that idea of tonality. If you're wearing a blue shirt, maybe you want to keep the accessories more toned down, or if you're wearing something very, the palette is kind of flat and solid, then you want to pop color.
Yes.
So keep color in mind and keep layering in mind. I know on a prior occasion, you and I had talked about the sneaker bag, right? And do people really wear them? And you really can, and it's great. You wear them with like a blazer and you look more polished, and then you put really comfortable shoes on, but they're interesting. The fabric is interesting. So that's a way to approach that.
That's great. So thank you so much for that wonderful advice. I can't wait to, I'm not going to show you my wardrobe because it's embarrassing, but and you've given us some great ideas, and I think the most important thing that you brought up was that, this is about confidence and feeling good. It's not something frivolous. This is, this is really about something that can give you that boost and just make you feel good about yourself. And we all deserve to be feeling that way.
Absolutely.
Every day.
Every day, and it doesn't have to be this dressed up thing. But every day in a casual way, you do deserve to feel really authentic to yourself. And to go a little deeper. And that's what I always like to do with my clients. It's like, who is this person and why does that make you feel so good? And that's what's so cool about individuals. That's what I love so much. If anybody wants examples of lookbooks, it's on my website.
Okay, so let's finish by tell us how we can get in touch with you and find out more.
So it's mariaturkel.com. And on that website, there are so many different options. I write a newsletter about once a month. Okay. And you can easily sign up for it there. And a lot of people like that because you get a lot of information without having me in your life. Yes. So much. Certainly if you want an appointment, all my contact information is on there. And then I have client success stories. There's a lot of different things I think on the website that can kind of give you ideas. I try to show different types of people. So I encourage people to go there and just try to get some more information. Visuals help me.
Yes, absolutely. And your website is great. So I urge everybody to take a look at Maria's website. Thank you, Maria.
You're welcome.
If you have enjoyed this show, please like, share and subscribe, and head on over to thebusymomshow.com to watch more episodes. Now go out and have a fabulous day. Bye for now.
Bye.